frequently talk about actors' nightmares. They have a horrible dream that they are pushed on stage to do a part or song or dance in a show that they've not rehearsed in front of a live audience. Similar to this, last March, you might have found yourself in the middle of a COVID nightmare. You walk to the back of the store, your footsteps quick, intent on leaving with what you came for. You see something in the distance, white, glistening, beckoning you. You break into a giddy, slow-motion run, the soundtrack of Chariots of Fire playing in your head. Ba-da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da. You glide to that precious commodity you took for granted until now. You reach out your hand, your fingertips centimeters away from that 12-pack of paper rolls you so desperately need. When inches away from victory, a well-manicured hand snatches it before you do, simultaneously running her cart into your shin. If you've had a dream like this, or maybe it was your reality, you were part of the great toilet paper shortage of 2020, not to be confused with the great toilet paper shortage of 1973, when talk show host Johnny Carson joked about a toilet paper shortage and accidentally created one. Our ancestors might not have believed that toilet paper would be such an important commodity in our lives, and it's actually had quite a colorful past. Wiping began with some harsh surrogates. Think sponges, even rocks and corn cobs. Luckily, all of these rougher substitutes would be wiped away in favor of the soft paper that now caresses our most sensitive part. As a result of this varied history, fun facts accompany any discussion on toilet paper. Let's start with the rugged choices first. As far back as 400 BC, Buddhist monks left reminders of what wiping etiquette should be. Ronald H. Bloomer in Wiped, A Curious History of Toilet Paper, suggests that these monks use sticks to remove waste material. Their rules state: Rule 1, one should not wipe oneself with a rough stick. Rule 2, only use a soft stick. According to David Hiskey, in an article from Today I Found Out, around the same time, Greeks were wiping with their hand, only their left hand. The left hand was used for wiping, while the right hand was used for clean activities, like shaking someone's hand or picking up food. Apparently this trend was influential because in India, this practice still persists today. The preferred method is to wipe with your hand in water and wash your hand afterwards. Of course, no food is handled with the left hand. Yikes, if you're left-handed like me, we should count ourselves lucky we don't have to do this. Now let's fast forward to America in more modern times, where the preferred method was corn cobs and plants. American poet James Whitcomb Riley, writing in the late 1800s, proves that corn cobs were a staple of the outhouse in this poem. The torture of that icy seat would make a Spartan sob, for need must scrape the goose flesh with a lacerating cob, that from a frost-encrusted nail was suspended by a string. For father was a frugal man, and wasted not a thing. So when did using paper first come into vogue? As early as 6th century AD, people were using paper, rough paper. Seemingly, paper wasn't enough, because a Muslim traveler to China in the 8th century said, the Chinese do not wash themselves with water, but only wipe themselves with paper. It wasn't until 14th century then that there was an annual manufacturing of 10 million packages of paper used for this purpose. According to Hiskey, over 1,000 years later, Europe caught on due to the invention of the printing press. Books were informative, but according to Bloomer, the thin absorbent stuff on which the books were impressed was just too tempting to resist, and the use of paper for wiping gained steam in the Western world. It wasn't until mid-19th century, though, that the seeds of advancement began. Hiskey suggests that in 1857, the first commercial paper in America was produced. It sold on flat sheets that were moistened and soaked with aloe. In today's prices, it would have been $14 for only 500 sheets. In the 1860s, though, the aloe was dropped by the Scott brothers, whose ancestors are still in business today, and the product became cheaper. Though cheaper, manufacturing wasn't very good, and splinters often came with the product. Ouch. But in 1935, Northern Tissue boasts that their toilet paper was finally splinter-free. Most Americans resisted buying toilet paper because they were content with getting it for free in other forms. They would use the pages of a discarded Sears and Roebuck catalog as well as the Farmer's Almanac. The almanac, according to Hiskey, even came with a hole in it so it could easily be hung in outhouses. Though indoor plumbing would cause Americans to switch to soft tissue altogether because the pages of the catalogs and almanac would clog up the pipes. But surely by now you have some questions about toilet paper and would even welcome some fun facts. Question 1. Why is toilet paper white? According to Emily Denuso in the Reader's Digest, the pulp used to make toilet paper comes straight from recycled paper, which is naturally white, but the glue is brown. No one really wants to use brown toilet paper, so hydrogen peroxide or chlorine is used as a bleach to make it whiter, while also removing the substance lignin, which in turn softens the paper. Fun fact 2. Some beret decorators in the 1950s promoted colored toilet paper to match the colors of your bathroom. Denuso says it was popular for a while, but it grew out of favor due to concerns about the safety of pastel dyes on the skin and environment. Speaking of environment, my last fact tells us that in 2011, some enterprising Afghani entrepreneurs decided to recycle old Korans into their toilet paper. As you can imagine, the aftermath included threats of stoning the owners of the mill and destroying the property. Today, we'd all agree that toilet paper is a great necessity, but not everyone in 2020 hoarded toilet paper. So who was most likely to hoard? Type A, a person who's organized, diligent, perfectionist, prudent, and general over-prepares, or type B, a person who's content with rocks, corn cobs, and the good old Farmer's Almanac. Just out of curiosity, which one are you more like? I thought so. Let's hope the great toilet paper shortage of 2020 is behind us.